Sources familiar with the subject said India aims to pay in rupees for its first long-term urea import contract with Iran to protect itself against global supply interruptions, higher pricing, and currency volatility, which has been worsened by Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Under the strain of strong U.S. sanctions on Iran, India banned urea imports in 2019, and official statistics reveal that Asia's third-largest economy moved to China, Ukraine, and Russia to satisfy its need for the crop fertilizer. According to one of the individuals, several Indian states experienced urea shortages last year as a result of China's immediate export limitations in the face of high worldwide pricing. Now that the Russia-Ukraine situation has contributed to supply and pricing uncertainty, the source said, "Our goal is to secure supplies at acceptable costs." India is a major importer of urea and other soil nutrients, which are used to feed the country's massive agricultural industry, which employs around 60% of the workforce and contributes for 15% of the country's $2.7 trillion GDP. The federal government sets a retail price ceiling for urea and deducts the additional import expenses from the federal budget as a subsidy. It also provides urea makers with subsidies in exchange for selling the product at cheap rates established by the government. India's fertilizer subsidy cost reached a new high of 1.5 trillion rupees in 2020-21. In 2018-19, Iran was India's third-largest urea supplier, accounting for almost 17% of the country's over 7.5 million tons of urea imports. India is considering hastening a deal with Iran, after reports that talks between Iran and the US might result in a fresh accord to relieve sanctions. According to another source, several talks with stakeholders had already taken place, and the aim was to pay in rupees with the help of local banks to import 1.5 million tons of urea from Iran each year. According to the sources, price had not yet been set. The fertilizer and finance ministries in India did not reply to Reuters' requests for comment. India created a barter-like mechanism acceptable to Washington during a previous round of sanctions in 2012, allowing it to make oil payments to OPEC member Iran in rupees via a tiny state bank. The monies were utilized to import commodities from India. India was able to reduce its trade imbalance with Iran as a result of this. India's finances in the local bank have drained since it stopped buying oil from Iran in 2019, and the country's trade imbalance with Tehran has transformed into a surplus in 2019-2020.